All right, it is that time. So thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Gary Christie, and we're going to talk about some of the Trading Central tools now available in, of course, Firstrade's mobile app. And we'll dive into some more details of those features in the desktop app as well in the website. So because there's so many tools available to you now, I like to show all of them as best as I can. I don't want to take too much of your time. And yes, if you have questions while I'm presenting, please don't be shy. You can ask them in the Q&A box in Zoom. And of course, I'll get to them as best as I can. I want this to be fun and engaging and hopefully, something we can all learn from. And the theme here is to help empower you to find trade ideas using tools available to you inside the mobile app at Firstrade and of course on the web application. So let's just get right to it. So a little bit about me, if you haven't seen me before, I've done a presentation in the past. And again, my name is Gary Christie. I head the North American Research Desk in Ottawa. So I'm in snowy, cold, freezing Ottawa, Canada right now. And I run an analyst team here, as well as a bunch of developers. And there's a lot of coworkers here that help to design and maintain the apps you're going to see today. But our team here, the analyst team, provides recommendations on almost all asset classes. We're talking, things to do, it could be even crypto, equities, futures, currencies. Our analyst team provides coverage around the clock, 24/7, all around the world. And we also help support the products you're going to see today by building some of the new tools like the quantamental rating. Inside, you'll see in Strategy Builder today, the new AI tool Market Buzz to help you disseminate the news, and Technical Insight, one of my favorites, the automated pattern recognition software of technical analysis that helps you find interesting setups and does some of the work for you as you sleep. And I'll get to that in a minute of how that works. But my background, I'm a trader. I call myself a trader. That's who I am. I trade actively every day. I'm an active market participant, and my passion is finding tools and fine-tuning tools to help us become better traders and help with some of the research and saving time trying to find ideas. So that's my background. I've been trading for over 20 years. I was an active trader and an options specialist by trade at a major bank in Canada, TD Bank. And then I moved over to the technical analysis side with Trading Central, as that's really my passion, is trading and technical analysis and building trading plans and helping people become consistently profitable traders. That's my real passion. And I'm going to show you some of the tools and how I use them today to help me make money, and hopefully it will for you too. And why not? You have these tools available to you for free. Firstrade has a great partnership, Firstrade and Trading Central, to be able to provide these tools to you. And I'm here to show you just how to use them and how we use them as a professional. And it can be used for anybody of all skill levels, which is the beauty here. That's a bit about me. The topics today we'll go over is, again, I'll do a little bit of a touch on Trading Central. I know I did a little bit already, just to show who we are and what our main business is. We'll talk about on the mobile market, the TC Market Buzz is the new news buzz on mobile to help you disseminate the trading news. And we'll go over Technical Insight. We have some insights, not the whole features on the mobile, but we have a lot of them in there to help you get a tone for a stock direction based on the technicals and automated pattern detection. And then we'll talk about Strategy Builder on the website, on the browser, as long as we'll also throw an economic calendar as well, just to show you, how can you get the relevant news coming for next week to help you set up for your trading day, and how to even program your own or back test your own strategy. It could be using technicals, fundamentals, quant-driven approach with TC Quantamental, which I touched on earlier. All these tools you can use to develop a screen, back test it, and see how it would have performed if you followed those top 10 stocks. That's the real fun part. So I'll try not to spend too much time talking today and get right to the fun of it inside the platforms, but it's good to know a baseline and understand how these products are designed and how to use them first. So moving along, again, quick disclaimer, I'm always a fan of using real life examples. That's the best way to educate, in my opinion. So you will see some real life charts and directional biases. Again, I'm not here to give advice, although that is my day job of giving advice to institutions all over the world and individuals. Today, it's more about the tools today to make you decide and help you decide what should you do with this particular asset class or stock market direction, and find some interesting setups. So keep that in mind. We're not here to give advice today. That's not the intention. This is all self-directed. All right, so moving along from that, let's just get into quickly who we are, who's Trading Central, right? So we provide investment and research and insights on a variety of tools and services aimed to really support traders, investors, and financial institutions, in fact. So we help them all with their decision-making process. Our offerings include chart pattern recognition, technical indicators, news, you'll see today, market sentiment, options analytics now is a newer product of ours, fundamental research as well. So pretty much whatever you can think of in terms of trading and investing, we provide analysis on and coverage in multiple different ways, right? So we have a global team of analysts around the clock. So I head the North American desk here in North America. Then I have colleagues in Hong Kong that will take over from my research and my team's research in the day, and they'll continue that research in Hong Kong in Asian hours and Australian hours, and then they'll pass it to our headquarters, which we're based in Paris, France, where we have our largest team of analysts that will continue the research, set us up to really help me and set us up for the morning trading in US hours. So it's a nice round-the-clock coverage of analysts doing, covering the markets. And we also have some new tools with our TC Labs with using artificial intelligence and NLP to help us with the news and help us disseminate market context. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but there's so much we're doing now. It's quite exciting times in the trading world. But bottom line, our goal is to really help users enhance their trading strategies and really identify market opportunities. That's what we do here. And we're always looking for new insights and feedback on our insights. So if you have questions or feedback, please fire away, put them in the questions in the box, and I'll get to them. And I think right now, so far, yeah. So I'm glad someone said, I'm gonna keep checking the box, video and audio is okay. Excellent. So let's move on. So what are we talking about today? So the first thing we're going to talk about is market buzz, and you can follow along, by the way. I encourage you to log in and go to the Firstrade mobile app. Nice and easy. On the markets tab, you'll see right away the splash page is market buzz. This is Trading Central powered, right? And you'll see all these indicators on the chart here. These are all symbols. And I did this, maybe a week ago. So of course, this is going to look different today. But market buzz, really, what's the benefit? So if you're an active trader, much like I am, you're probably very short in time and don't really have the luxury of sitting through and reading lengthy news headlines and articles. What you really need here is a real quick way to identify which instruments are making waves in the news and could potentially impact your trading positions. So this is where Trading Central Market Buzz comes right in. So it keeps a close eye on the variety of sources, including news articles, social media, and market data. And from this data, we can pinpoint trending topics. We could also look at shifts in sentiment based on the news articles. And these are important because they really help influence financial markets, right? So what we're seeing on the screen here is that nice bubble map, we call it. And green is the most positive news sentiment based on the sentiment. And then we have a red, negative, and neutral in the blue area. And this is a design so you go open the app in the morning right away. It's the first thing that I like to do and look at which topics are trending overnight, which are affecting certain stocks. And these are usually market moving stocks because they have market moving news. And this is the way I like to follow it. When you click on a symbol, you're going to see a whole new insight into the news bias. So we're going to see if you click on OMC, or in this case, you clicked on Dow, and what we have Dow, the green bubble over here, we can see it's a bullish sentiment. It's in green. There's a sentiment score, higher the better, that tells us is it bullish or bearish based on the tone of all the articles from the sources that we source. And then you can see the subjectivity. Is it low or high? Basically, is it can you trust the news or not? And with what kind of confidence, right? So low subjectivity with high confidence is what we like to see. So we can trust the sentiment signal. I mean, most articles are being printed, and the sentiment around them is that it's a bullish theme or bullish bias based on the news only. So that's pretty unique and a new way of looking at news, which kind of changed the game for me. I don't have to go through lengthy news articles and multiple papers to figure out what is the hot topics of the day. It's going to be here for you right in front of your eyes every day, and it updates throughout the day. So that's TC Market Buzz. I'll show you how to do that and get into the app with that in a few moments. But just to understand the basics around it, Market Buzz is the first step. All right, then we will jump into really technical insight, the real fun in here. So under the markets section, again, that markets button at the bottom, we'll launch right away technical insight in the next tab over. So this tool really offers a robust set of tools designed to interpret market trends and price movements effectively. So we're using chart patterns, technical indicators, real-time signals, and any kind of technical event we can find to help you identify entry and exit points, find a certain momentum in the market, and evaluate risk as well with support resistance and automatic stop losses. And this is the automated part of the tool where we use textbook theory. Again, this is not giving advice here. It's giving you textbook theory as to, is a stock bullish or bearish based on the current technical events that have confirmed. We're not looking at what may confirm. We like to have confirmation. It's part of technical analysis and Dow theory. We like to confirm that the trend's in place or the pattern has completed, and then we can take action on that, like a set of rules to help us trade. And I'm a huge fan of rules-based trading. Having your own list of rules that you focus on before you enter a trade and when you exit, and knowing when you should exit before you enter the trade. But that's a lot about trade mechanics, which deserves its own webinar in itself. But for now, we'll show you how I use the tool really to confirm directional biases on technicals. And something I'm hugely passionate about. So I'll show you how to use that tool today, where you can see the most popular instruments of the day, what most users say at Firstrade are looking at, or what are the most active around the market. And you can see also trends and themes. So we'll get into themes in a bit, but themes will show us, like you can follow here, I have AI on the screen. So if you want to follow stocks that have an influence in the artificial intelligence sector, we already listed them here for you. But what's unique about Firstrade is that they combine multiple indicators into one. So we've taken, this is coming from Strategy Builder, by the way, which we'll show you in a minute on the website. The mobile app's in a beautiful way of taking theme and then looking at the news as well. So we're combining market buzz and the overall mentions. So in looking at this example, we see above average mentions in IBM. So there's interesting happening with the news. Looks like the stock was down 8% when I did this. So obviously probably earnings or something like that. So it's an earnings event, most likely. Can't confirm that without looking at it. But then you can go into more detail into the technical analysis side and see what are the trends happening with this stuff. What are there any classic pattern breakouts or not? So that's technical insight. Again, technical insight detects over 60 plus different indicators, right? Could be, we have them all in 3 categories. We talk about classic bar and candlestick patterns. These are Japanese candlesticks. They all have their own reversal patterns and continuation patterns. Then we have indicators and oscillators, so we can detect if an RSI, like relative strength index, or a MACD, moving average convergence divergence oscillator, are bullish or bearish. And then we have the real fun, my favorite, the classic patterns, right? So these are the ones that have images on a chart. And one of the benefits of classic patterns is that when they confirm, we can actually identify a target price based on the measured move. You'll hear that term a lot in technical analysis. There's a measured move between the low of the pattern and the high of the pattern, or the pattern start and finish when it broke out. And you can project that on the breakout to have a target price. So this is probably the most fun of technical analysis, is looking at these indicators, and they give us a better picture of how to develop a trading plan. And that's important. So we can automate all this for you. So you do not have to be a technical analysis professional to understand or take advantage of this tool. It's all done for you. Our team of technical analysts, we have 10 of them at Trading Central. We go through this and vet it and develop these in-house to maintain them, making sure they're giving proper textbook theory of breakouts and trends. So we do all that research for you. All you have to do is know how to automate your research. And I'll show you how to do that in a quick moment on the website, where you can get new ideas every day, which is important, right? So that's technical insight. And then I'll touch on Strategy Builder, which is a pretty unique software where it's basically called a stock screener. And again, these are the themes that you get in the mobile app right now, all created to you already. But you can also dig into preset screens and expert strategies, and you'll also be able to screen your own for your own stocks. Maybe you care about low PE only, right? In the S&P 500 index, you can search for that. Or maybe you're looking for stocks that have a low PE, that maybe have good earnings from a value perspective. If you're a value investor, then you want to have also an overlay of technicals. Say I wanted to buy breakouts or a falling wedge breakouts or reversal patterns on basically value stocks based on your criteria. There's endless possibilities here and what you can build in a strategy. The beauty here is you can also back test it, right? So once you select your criteria, this is what the screening criteria looks like from the website. Here's one we used on like dividend growth for US stocks. You can see the criteria, you can fine tune it. And then the beauty is in the end, you can back test it over a 5-year time horizon, just to see if you're in the ballpark. Is it something you can handle over the next 5 years if you're a longer term trader? And we'll give the data even on the short term side. Does it work on monthly data for the next quarter? So there's lots you can do here. You can spend a lot of time, and I encourage you all to do so. Let's play around with strategies or look at the ones that have been created for you from our team, the analysts at Trading Central. And we'll get into that in a minute. We'll show you how that works. But let's move on again to the last part, something I've been using a lot lately, and that's the calendar. And again, this is powered by Trading Central as well. And these are all the tabs. Again, you can find this if you want to follow along right now on the Discover page inside Firstrade. You're going to see all our products here. We have Technical Insight, the news, Strategy Builder, and then the calendar is the last one, where you can see the actual data today and how it's performed over a certain period of time. So we can look at, in this example, we had housing starts. You can actually now see the trend. And this is going to help you in everyday life. If you want to understand interest rates and inflation, you can now get that trend and be well aware of what's happening and what's coming down the line. You can select the date and add it to your calendar, by the way, too. If it's an important event that may affect your portfolio, like an interest rate decision yesterday, which was taking everybody off guard with the market pretty much taking a dive yesterday, and looks like it's maybe continuing today on Fed Jerome Powell. All that will be in here, right? And you can schedule that so you know when to, if you're an active trader like myself, maybe don't trade around those volatile events. At least be aware what's happening, put it into your calendar, and you get an alert so you can better manage your positions. But it's what I like to look for is planning my entire week. It's all in front of you now. So you have all the data available to make informed decisions and knowing where the risk lies. Basically, look at the darker the red, the higher the importance, and those events should be on your radar, and it could affect your portfolio for sure, right? So that's we'll show you how that works in a quick moment. In fact, maybe I'll just give a demo now because I think we're ready to go. So here's what we'll do. I'm gonna share my screen and just bear with me right now. I'll switch to my mobile, and here we go. So, and again, if you have questions, don't be shy, fire away. I'm gonna load up my screen to share. And 1 second. All right. So if you can't see my mobile in a quick second, let me know. It's trying to connect right now. There we are. All right. So we're good. I'm going to open up. You can see my AI version of my cat in my stock market screens, but let's jump right in. Again, this is my personal phone, so disregard any messages. And here we go. So I'm inside the Firstrade app. And where do you find our tools? So quickly jump onto markets at the bottom. And what do we see here? So now we see, some information in the market. Market's still showing green. We're holding on to positive levels. So you're getting a nice sentiment of the overall market, NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow. And it looks like we're still bullish, which is nice to see. It's because it's been quite a volatile day. And what else do we have? So market buzz. So the market buzz is, again, using our NLP, language processing, AI tools. We can now scan all articles available, and the database is pretty massive, and we can see what's the talk of the town. There's no surprise here. Micron, it's been on the news. They released earnings, disappointing. I think it was last night. And it's been pretty, and this makes sense. So we have a lot of negative articles now, negative sentiment. It's the biggest bubble, and it's red, right? So we can see it's negative news. If I click on that, I can get a little bit more insight into it. So we have the stock price. You see the sentiment signal is bearish. That's the main one to focus on, sentiment signal here. And you can click on it to understand what that means, right? So we talk about here, it's based on the market sentiment score before trading begins. Sentiment is observed at the start of the market session and can offer insights into whether the asset is likely to exhibit superior performance, lag, or remain steady. In this case, it's lagging. Sentiment score is pretty weak, right? So it goes from very negative to very positive. Low subjectivity, right? So 0 means very rational participants writing articles to 100 being very irrational. So it looks like it's pretty orderly, pretty bearish overall with an average confidence index. right? So you can click on those, understand what it means. I won't go through every one today because we have lots to show you today. But that's the first step in my day. So looking for market news. I'll just scroll back down, right? If any interesting names here, right? We have what it looks like Visa is in there. Pretty bullish sentiment on Visa. You can quickly trade or get more details. I won't do that today. Right now, Paychex is on there, JBL, interesting names. So this is kind of almost like my watch list in the morning where I like to look at and see what could be a market mover. Even Apple is there. We can see it's slightly bearish right now with a very low sentiment score, right? This is all based on the articles. And we look at all articles in terms of the tone and keywords in them. Now, if you keep scrolling down from the overview page, you'll see that technical insight I was talking about. So you'll see the most popular. If you click on most popular, it'll tell you it's the list chosen counting the number of instrument searches over the last 90 days. So not a lot of surprises here. NVIDIA's been the talk of the town for quite some time. We have Tesla in there, Amazon, AMD, Apple. Palantir has been a popular name. Super microcomputer, of course, Microsoft, Google, all the FEMN stocks, it looks like Meta, right? It's no surprise. These are the heaviest traded instruments these days, securities. I like to look at this. You can see the short-term trend with that line chart. I see, Tesla's been doing pretty good, not down too much. I had a pretty rough day yesterday, right? So I'm looking for trends and big gainers. If there's anything interesting to look at here today for trading. Not a lot going on. They're all pretty much neutral. You can also see what's trending now, right? So if I click on trending now, is the chosen by counting the number of instrument searches in the last 7 days compared to the last 90 days. So I use this as a sentiment indicator, right? So what's actually trending that's new, that has unusual activity. What we mean by that is what's never looked at that often that has now boosted the searches. Maybe there's something going on with these names. Clearly, we can see something with the CURR. I have no idea what this company does, but it's up 18%, right? Look at this one, BPTH, Biopath, up 113%. 93% for APCX. So maybe if you're, and this is a very small, cheap stocks, right? Maybe they're right for shorting opportunities on these big moves or continuing the trend longer. It's make you aware of these big moves. So a lot of these names, I haven't heard any of them. Those are currency shares. There's Invesco FXY ETF in there. But this I find fascinating. I like to see what people are looking at that has the most volume recently compared to its average, right? So not just about the top stocks that are always pretty much talked about, the FEMN stocks, right? We're looking at new ones, probably stocks you've never heard of, which is quite interesting. And then there's the themes here. If I click on themes, you see some trends, and these are the ones that are actually built by our analyst team, myself included. I made a lot of these myself, like shipping companies, ESG stocks, and we do research on what may benefit a certain theme, like stocks for inflation, an inflationary market. This has been around for a while. We can see some stocks that usually benefit from at least protected from higher rates, but the list goes on. Quantum computing is a new one. Maybe it's the new trend from the AI, right? We need some new massive data centers and powerful computers in the future to process all this AI framework. Definitely, maybe this could be a sector to focus on. These are all the companies that have some stake in the game of quantum computing, right? So I encourage you to check around with these stocks. There's a lot of them in here, even renewable energy. We're constantly making new ones, so stay tuned, log into the app and quickly take a look at what we're developing. And we'll try to keep it always relevant to what's popular in the current market right now, in the current context. Right, so that's themes in here. And again, look at the overview, right? There's a technical insight, there's your themes. We'll go into Strategy Builder in a second. That's because that will give you a further discussion on themes and how you can change the dynamics or change the symbols that appear there, or even add fundamental indicators, right? But if I go into, let's just take a look at technical insight. The most popular today is NVIDIA, and a nice list of a price change. If I click on that, now I'm going to get some interesting things happen here. So the first thing I like to do, I'm a chartist, so if you're on the mobile app, just turn your phone sideways, right? And then here we go. We have a nice, beautiful chart now. Again, this is not a Trading Central thing. It's just something I like to use in the app. I'm a huge fan of. It defaults to 1 minute. You can see that the NVIDIA is trying to find a support level here on the floor from yesterday's declines. So we're holding on a bit today. Maybe we break lower below 131, maybe we don't, and we have a major reversal. Yet to be determined. I can go into change the time frame to a daily chart, right? Which I like to do for my longer term analysis. and we can see the pictures kind of rolled over. There's a little bit of a risk in the market, right? So this is a fantastic tool just for charting. Just all you have to do is tilt your phone, tilt it back up, vertical, and then you're gonna go back into the tool here and see key statistics. You can trade the stock. There's lots of information. All the news is here, by the way, if you want to go dig into the news. But really, we can go into analysis, and then we can jump into technical events. And this is a quick way of understanding technical insight and looking at the stock from a short-term, medium-term, and long-term bias. So in the short term, we see a lot of red squares. These are technical events that have been confirmed. You can see the date as to when it was confirmed, and we can see a lot of bearish activity, right? One inside bar, but I'm looking for the overall trend. If it's a lot of red, that's my bias, right? Just to keep it in my mind. For risk management, we've put in based on 100 bars or 100 days if it's a daily chart, or 100 5-minute bars if it's a 5-minute chart, we have support and resistance to follow. The stock's at 131 right now. It's up a bit today. There's support found at 117 and resistance at 140 above us. We like to keep an eye on these levels, maybe draw them on your own chart or write them down, create alerts to make sure you're aware of where support and resistance is. Maybe we break out of there, maybe we break down, right? And then we also have stop loss suggestions, right? So we have, based on the current volatility of the instrument, we're recommending stock prices at 118. And if you're short, which you can be, right, we have a stop at 146 on the upside. This is a medium level stop. So it's based on volatility again. Okay. So going through there, that's a quick way. I can go ahead and change the time frame to medium. We can see it's pretty mixed, but we have a nice symmetrical continuation triangle. If I click on that, we can see the pattern, the closing price when it took place, and some education of what a symmetrical continuation triangle is. It's a bullish pattern coming from a prior uptrend. It's consolidated and now breaking out even higher. So that's something to be considered. Here's a nice little sketch and education of what that should look like. So as an educational tool alone in technical analysis, you can learn a lot just by being in the Firstrade app. This is pretty powerful, right? So from here, right, what else can we do, right? So again, there's a lot of research here. I won't go through all of this because there's so much research we put into this to explain textbook theory of this pattern. I like to go through all the time frames, even long-term, and then I like to go ahead and look at weekly events as well. So you can change the time frame, right? Nothing's here, so no events will pop up, but that's the overall how you look at it. I can do it with a quick search. Say I did SPY on here recently. I can add that to my watch list. To get a whole feel for the overall market, I like to look at SPY as the first thing I do in the morning, and especially when the market opens, right? I can flip it over to a flat view. I can see intraday, 1 minute, market's trying to make a rebound as we're talking. Good news for us, right? We're trying to find a floor in the market, but looking at the daily chart, right? This is pretty weak. We've had a huge decline, and we may be breaking this overall long-term uptrend. You could draw a rising supporting trend line, and we broke it yesterday. So be careful, all I can say, right? This is yet to be determined if this is a short-term rebound situation or we go lower into a new short-term bear market. Very risky at this time, especially going into the end of the year where volume tends to dry out in the market. People going on vacation and holidays. Keep that in mind. And January, we usually have a new theme or maybe a January effect type of situation where we have some new bullish sectors and ones that got beaten down for tax loss selling. There's a whole subject that deserves its own webinar for that. But we know that volatility can be quite interesting coming into the end of the year. So just be cautious of that. But of course, this all works with technicals as well. Clicking on analysis, I can get a whole theme or tone of the S&P 500. This is the ETF. And we can see it's pretty bearish as well, right? A lot of red squares, no real classic patterns I've seen yet. Again, we also have a trading plan for that. There's support and resistance already done for you. Quite fascinating. Again, you can always put an alert on here, right? And set your price based on the stop alerts if you want. Pretty easy to do that and be informed and let the software work for you. And all you have to do is watch it on your phone, right? On your app. Log in, it takes 2 seconds, and you can see if levels have been breached, if you have any alerts, any interesting patterns for the day. All right. So that's technical insight. Again, we've gone through most of these. And keep in mind, too, you can cycle by what's trending, what's the most viewed bullish as well, most bullish classic patterns. And this is what I find also helps me build a watch list. There's some interesting names here. We have ASML, a head and shoulders bottom. That's a very rare pattern when it confirms. That's usually a pretty interesting opportunity. We have a bullish MACD on Apple, Palantir, AVGO, so on and so on. And then we can also go bearish too if you're short the market. There's some bearish ideas. And again, if you're owning these positions, again, NVIDIA's been a concern. Tesla had a huge drop, AMD, so on and so on. It's up to you to decide which patterns matter more to you. And just go on from there, right? So that's technicals. And I mean, there's a lot to do here, but that's probably where I'm going to leave it for the mobile app right now, right? So again, market buzz, scroll down, interesting setups technically. There's themes in here and the news. But now I got a few minutes. I want to take up too much of your time. I'll just share my screen and go to the Firstrade app on the web, and we'll go into some more detail of this. This is a nice quick snapshot, and there's also I like to continue on with the browser. So let me just reshare my screen, and as I'm doing that, I'm going to check the questions. I see one saying, "Will there be a link to the recording? You missed part of it." There may be. I'm not 100% sure. I'll double check after with the team. But I think usually they're available somewhere. So, but yeah, we'll get to that. But again, you didn't miss too much. If you missed the very beginning, I'm into it right now, and I'll show you real time how these products work as I use them every day. So let me just share my screen. I'll go back to my demo, and let me know if you can't see it in 2 seconds. And I'm going to jump right into the Firstrade website. I'm going to refresh just to make sure I'm still logged in. I'm not. Let me log in again. There we go. So let me spend a few moments here on the website. And the first thing I want to do here is something I haven't talked about yet. So if you missed the beginning, that's okay. The first thing I like to do is go down and to the bottom. So as soon as I log into Firstrade, I will scroll here. First off, go to Research and Tools and Discover. The first step. That's where you're going to find Trading Essential tools and insights. And here's all the tabs. So that's the market buzz and a nice larger format here where you can do some screening of the news. Again, Micron's still there. You already saw it. So the mobile app at Firstrade gives you what's important, the main points, and then you can go ahead and continue your journey and fine tune it inside the website. But of course, this is how it looks while I'm here. We have a different visual, right? Or if the sentiment signal is the same though, sentiment score, confidence, we all went through that already. Bottom line, the overall context of the news is bearish. Right? No surprise in Micron, right? But the fun here is that you can now dig into the news analytics, right? And dig into the topics and mentions. So what's happened here? We have it buzzing more than usual. There's been more articles than usual in market buzz. We have mentioned sources, right? Mostly on the straight news articles. We have a trend analysis that's been kind of flat to bearish. And you can see the news article history. So we know that it's been some recent boosts in news articles. We can see the sentiment there over 30 days. Maybe you want 7 days. This explains a lot, right? A lot of activity on the 17th at and around earnings. And then you could also, based on our NLP and our AI engine, we can see what topics are being discussed. So maybe you only want to focus on certain news points that matter to you based on what's affecting the stock. We can see price target lowered is the #1 discussed topic right now. Then we also have earnings announcement. That's fallen back a bit. Now it's about price targets, right? These are the 5 top trending topics related to the stock or the subject over the last 24 hours, which is pretty cool, right? So if I click on price target lowered, I can now find articles that are only around that. So I don't have to understand and read all of the news that sometimes it repeats itself. I can focus on what matters to me. I know what matters to me is the stock is bearish, negative sentiment, price target's been lowered, and I want to read about it. Here's the cuts. So we can see cut to 145, cut to 130, 128, all within the last 5 hours, which is phenomenal. So this is a new way to read the news, which I think is critical in the future of news reading, especially in finance, to focus on what matters to save you time, right? I don't have to read all the articles to get my own opinion and understand what the topics are. We list them here. And you can go ahead to maybe you care about the price target raised. There's some here as well, 7 hours ago, even longer back, right? So I'll let you play with that. That's deserves its own presentation for an hour. I could talk about market news, but this is a new way to understand the news and the sentiment behind the news. Pretty nice and pretty neat. So of course I'm in the Discover page, right? I would suggest we all scroll down, right? And we have 3 newsletters here as well, right? So if you want to get a feel for the market before the market opens, our analyst team and our research team, including my team here, we write curated content that's very bespoke and specific for Firstrade, right? So we want to make sure you understand what to be armed with. So you can check all these out now. I encourage you all to subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime. But if you see an example, it's actually real time. This is as of today, right? So December 19th, this is what we wrote. So we can see the overall trend of the market in terms of the futures before the market opens. All the news is available to you. We handpick using Market Buzz which articles you should be focusing on, right? Which articles matter, which stocks will potentially be market movers. So here we have tons of news. Market was bearish after the huge slide yesterday, right? We have the VIX data. We have all the economic news that's come out. We've actually already deciphered it for you. We understand what it means. We've gone into how it's affected compared to its estimate. That's all here for you. So it's kind of your one-stop shop of everything news related in terms of finance, in terms of economics and movable stocks, which is super critical, right? We also have commodity comments, what happened in Asia before the market opened, because that usually has a trend and a rollover effect into US markets, crude oil prices, even crypto, Bitcoin. We go through some stocks that have news. No surprise, Palantir is one of the big, was a large topic today in the news. Micron, Tesla, Lennar, so on and so on. We also tell you what to expect today in terms of earnings. Looks like we have Nike coming up. We have the economic calendar, and we've zoomed in to exactly what matters today only for you. And these are all coming from 8:30. This comes before 8:30, by the way, so you'll have it before it happens. And then any IPOs will be available. And then this is the real interesting, unique part, which you can't get anywhere else, really, is the technical views, right? So our analyst team manually does the technical analysis on these every day. This is from my desk this morning, where we can look at S&P after yesterday's big drop. The blue lines are support pivot line, which is like a stop loss. And then we have targets of support and resistance here. So just to give you a feel and a nice game plan, every morning this will be available to you. We also have automated pattern detection with a sentiment score and a quant-driven model where we look at the fundamentals as well. So we've used our new AI tool to give us really the overall picture of all key fundamental ratios. And then we can give you a score from 0 to 100. 100 being the best, 0 being the worst. And I'll tell you from experience, anything at 55 or above is usually the best of the best. All that to say is that it means that fundamentals are on your side. If you like the technicals, you have a double setup. That's how we use this. So these are all ideas. You can see the patterns. Looks like Wells Fargo is very weak. Head and Shoulders top, very weak technical score, very weak quant rating. This is a good shorting opportunity. Or if you're long, maybe consider having a stop loss or liquidating the position. So this is all to help you today. And again, you can register for free. That's that news article, but you have tons of them, right? So there's an ETF report as well, and here as well, just on ETFs. If you'd like to trade those, we give you the technical events, one of our popular newsletters as well, and then technical snapshots, as well, right, on stocks. So Firstrade's giving you so much research that we provide every day. Trading Central, all our best work is coming in here. That's to give you the tone. That's the main newsletter that we read before we start our day, right? And then from there, what else do we have? So, because I'm running out of time soon, I want to make sure I don't take too much of your time. Let's go through some stuff that we haven't gone through yet. Keep in mind, technical insight is here that we talked about. And I'll quickly show you how I use this tool, right? Because on the mobile app, you can get all the interesting stock setups. We already went through that. All the big movers, all the most viewed bullish. But there's a beautiful screener here where I can screen for what I want in terms of technicals in about a matter of seconds. So from here, I have a US list exchange. I can pick a list either from a theme that we showed you. You can search, or the whole entire S&P 500's in here, NASDAQ 100. I like to leave it to all, but you can dial down to which sector or industry you want to care about, even sectors, right, or industries you can search by. And maybe I'm looking for bullish opportunities right now to play this rebound if it does happen in the market. So as I'm doing this, I'm getting real-time updates already of interesting matches. But clicking on the filter, I can now dial into what I care about. Let's just say I want to look at stocks. I'm an option trader by trade, so I want stocks that have listed options. This is also a very good liquidity indicator. If it has options, It's probably a very liquid stock, which means it's better to get in and out, better pricing, right? From here, I can put in market cap, all right? And I could keep it all for now. I can also go in and continue on to that TC Quantum Mental Rating. This is our quant-driven model that uses a factor investing approach. Again, this is using momentum of price along with all key fundamental ratios. And like I said, I like to think have stocks above 55. I can't do a mid here. I'll keep it 60 and above for the best of the best fundamental picks. And this is changing real time, by the way, right? And then I can pick my time frame. It could be, if I'm an intraday trader, I can pick intraday patterns or weekly. I'll click them all for now. And this is the real fun here, is I can go ahead and pick the technical event that I care about. If you don't know, have that preference, click them all if you want. But generally, I like to use classic patterns, and I can even select which pattern I like the most, right? So if I like, I think it's a rebound play, I know from history, a head and shoulders bottom is very rare, but there's a bunch of them right now. And that's interesting because of the way the market's performing, right? With this big drop, maybe we have some interesting setups. If I only trade this pattern, right, what I can do here, I can go ahead and hit subscribe. And if I hit subscribe, I'll call this head and shoulders bottom. And now I'll hit OK. And I'm done here. It's in my alert center. We'll get to that in a second. But now I can go ahead and click on this square view. I can look at the charts. I can see which ones are interesting to me, right? If I want to take action or not, right? Some big moves have already happened in some of these names, right? So if I don't like any of those, here's a massive head and shoulders that continue to a new trend. This is a Marcus Corp. Fascinating stuff. But maybe I want to broaden my horizons more. Maybe I like head and shoulders bottoms, or I could switch it quickly. And I want a bullish flag. Maybe I'll use a continuation pattern, continuation wedge bullish. And because I'm a trend following trader by trade, maybe I want an upside breakout. As I'm doing this, I'm getting more results here, right? These are all bullish ideas, but potential breakouts, right? There's a big one here in Banco Marco SA, so on and so on. I won't go through all these today because we're running out of time. But what I want to do is here, again, I can hit subscribe and call it whatever I want, breakout. So what's going to happen here is every day it's going to do research for me at nighttime around 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to find new opportunities for you in your watch list, and it can email to you in an email which ones meet your criteria. Again, this is automating your research. Okay, so I can also do it with individual stocks, by the way. So let's go to technical insight, right? Let's click on Apple. It's the first one here. Now I'm getting all the technical events that you can imagine. Stop loss suggestions, support and resistance, right? I can see all the patterns here. I can go into different time frames and see. Well, I can zoom into the chart. I can see there's a moving average crossover. If I click on that, it will tell me why. I'll remove stochastics. I had it before. There's a nice crossover in the MACD, and that's bullish, right? On a weekly chart, this is a very long-term chart. So again, if I like these, right, I can also automate all this stuff on this research, right? So I can also go into long-term, right? There's no events here. I can go back to the summary. I can see all the events, okay? I can also go grid view and see all the individual events that happen for the stock as well, based on the indicator. But I like chart view, okay? And there's an alert bell here. So if I click on an alert, I can now focus only on certain stocks. So if I have a specific watch list, I can put my watch list in here and pick for certain opportunities. Maybe I'm long a stock and I'm worried about it becoming bearish. I can select technical events. I can select classic patterns. And maybe I only care about, I can deactivate them. I only care about bearish ones. I can go out to all, we tell you what it is too. It's all bearish, bearish, bearish. I can click on all the bearish patterns just to be alerted something happens, right? I can also do it by indicators, which is moving average crossovers. I can also go with oscillators. These are all the mathematical indicators. Endless possibilities, even bar charts, okay? I can set the alert, and that's gone to my alert center. I can keep doing this and over and over and over again, which is quite unique, right? Because again, to save you time and research. If I have a stop price, another important one. Here's that purple triangle. I can be maybe more, see I'm more aggressive and I'm long this stock right now on a long-term basis. I can go ahead and change that. Maybe I want a tighter stop, 234. So this is what we suggest based on volatility, or I could also do it based on a trailing stop, say 10%, and it'll move as the stock moves. The beauty here is right, is I can also go ahead and add the alert. Apple stop, click it, done, and forget it. So now you'll be alerted if it gets stopped out for you, so you don't have to be watching it every day, right? Just go to your alert center. While we're here, let's go to that alert center. Now we have a bunch here right now, right? I can activate or deactivate them. Okay, you can see the lists, right? I have a stop. If I click on stops, I have one on, I used to have one on AMD that's expired. I can delete it now. I have one on Apple I just made today. I can activate it or deactivate it. And I can also go for new opportunities. I'm looking for breakouts, head and shoulder bottom, or go for all of them here. You can see all the alerts. Okay, when I click on the breakout, see it's pending right now. It's going to calculate tonight at the close. We need to use closing prices for this. So when we get a confirmation, we'll give you the alert the next day. Okay, I can also filter for events right away, right? Based on my own lists, based on other lists, so on and so on. You can even do it for Forex pairs, by the way. So again, I give full webinars just on this tool alone. I want to save some time because there's a couple more things I want to show you, but that's the automation process of technical events to alert you and empower you to find trade ideas and do some risk management. Fantastic stuff. The next thing I want to show you is that calendar, right? This is how I use it every day. It's the first thing I check right after I use the morning newsletter or the morning market brief. I can see what's expected today. So I can change this. So today, I can zoom at the top here. What happened today? We had some big numbers coming out, right? So we had GDP growth rate, which is actually stronger than expected for the US, right? Existing home sales are also quite strong, it looks like. I can filter by how important it is, if it's high or medium or low. I can also filter by country. I can add, I'm biased, I'm in Canada, I can add Canadian data. And we had not much today, but I can switch it to tomorrow. Tomorrow's a Friday, I don't expect too much. But we have something coming out tomorrow. Personal spending. Okay, that's interesting. And then I can also do it by week. I can go for the week and plan my week ahead, right? So this is this week. I can go for next week. What do we have next week? Anything catch my eye? Oh, here's a big one here. Consumer confidence. This is the one I like to follow, right? It's expected to be around flat, slightly weaker. And we show you how it affects each currency pair, by the way, if it's sensitive to a specific pair. Of course, in Canada, GDP, US dollar CAD pair. But here, if I click on it, we'll explain to you what that indicator means. If you're learning about certain economic indicators, you can also, very importantly, add this to your calendar. Again, so there's no more excuses or worried of what happens, right? If the market, if the market changes direction, if you have a lot of positions open, be aware of economic events coming up and the chart of the data. So I can also look at the history of how this has performed. It's been a bit weaker here, where the gold box is the estimate and the blue is the actual data. There's the beat or exceed estimates. It's all here. So that's economic calendar. Again, super powerful way to look at any country in 2 seconds and get the estimates and the actual data, and again, put it into your calendar. The last thing I'll show you is that strategy builder before we go. And strategy builder, again, we saw these themes, right? These are preset by our analyst team that we're always adding new ones, right? Fine tuning them. If it's a new one, you'll see a big new pop-up come up here. We also have preset screens. Maybe you care about the top dividend paying stocks. Maybe you're looking for top performing in terms of percent. And bearish chart patterns. We made a bunch here for you to explore. Again, I encourage you all to play around with it. I won't go through every one today. And we have expert strategies. This is our research team providing strategies, trying to beat the market in terms of the back test, right? So you can follow some of these. Sometimes we add some new ones, remove old ones. That's constantly being shuffled. Your favorites will be in the star here. So your favorites, I don't have any because it's a demo account. I don't have any built in here yet, but you can start to build one. You also have a way where you can follow the steps to get started if you want to build your own screen and want to learn how to use the tool. But quickly, let's just make one, right? So I'll show you how fast this is before we go. So we have a new filter. And we have matches already because we have the whole market. We've selected top performers. I'll filter this out. I'll clean it out. I care about USA stocks. I can select a theme if I want. I won't today. Now, if I hit bulk edit, it's going to tell me what I have in my screen right now. So I have a bunch of price data and history. I don't really care much about the price performance. I'll remove some of this for now. If I have stock price, I like to leave mine at minimum $10 to make sure I don't get too many junior companies, but everyone's different, right? I like common shares, but I can also search trust units or preferred shares. I'll keep it to common shares. But let's add some more criteria. By hitting more, here's all the criteria. I can select market cap, which I will. And let's just say here, I'll keep it something small. Maybe I'll keep it to small caps, 500 million. And I'll keep it to 5 billion. These are stocks that aren't widely covered by an analyst, so maybe there's some opportunity here, right? And then what else can we add? Add more criteria, right? So I can add, does it have options? I want to maybe sell covered calls or do option trading. Why not hit yes, or use it as a liquidity indicator? That's also good. Let's keep the page going. Maybe I want to look at volume, right? So there's a lot of volume criteria. As we look at with the market buzz, we know that we can attract unusual volumes that could be a story to trade. We can do it with stocks too, right? 10-day versus 90-day. If it's 1 or higher, it's at or above normal in terms of trading volume. That could be a sign that there's momentum coming into the stock. We can keep adding some more here. So let me add some quantum mental data. I like to add in here momentum, which makes sure we find stocks that are exhibiting strong price momentum over 3 and 6 months. And let's just add a screen of, say, I don't know, 55. Maybe I'll do, well, we can do, yeah, I'll do 50. 70 is, probably 70 is the best. Let's do that. And then I'll add quickly a quality factor. Quality factor, again, there's definitions built into this. So as we do this, it tells you the overall strength of the company in terms of operating. Here we have operating margin, return on equity, return on investment capital, any changes to the debt ratio, the debt outstanding. We want the best of the best in terms of this factor metric. So by doing that, again, I can put it in 70. And as I'm doing this, I'm getting less and less results, which is normal, right? We're filtering. It's a screener. One more I'll add here is percentage change from 52-week high. I like to buy stocks that are actually in trends, maybe trending higher and near their 52-week high, as they usually have a tendency to continue the trend higher when this happens. So let's go into this. So if I put minus 15, hit tab, I want stocks that are trading within 15% of their 52-week high. Maybe that could be good. It could be totally bad. So we can fine tune this later. But now we have a pretty detailed screen, and I only have a few minutes left. So let's just take a look at this. Down below, if you scroll down, you can do a back test. If I hit calculate, call it whatever you want. I won't change the name for now. I'll go ahead, and as it's calculating, I'll have a sip of coffee. And it's calculating the top 10 matches, how they would perform over 5 years on a 3-month rebalance. What do we have? We're comparing it to the S&P 500. This screen had like 9% return. Okay, so 9%, not horrible, not as good as S&P 500. We can see how it performs in the chart. We can always change the data, right, to try to improve it, right? So, if I be maybe less strict, I could change something like quality down to say, I don't know, let's just do like a 55, right? By changing one factor, let's just recalculate. Let's see if it does anything. We'll get some more results, and I like to have at least a nice pool of results to do a proper back test. It has to be at least 10, by the way, but more the better to see how it's performed, and maybe it doesn't perform better. Well, here we go. So here's a good example, right? So now we're outperforming the S&P 500 if you follow this strategy, right? It's now giving me a 17% annualized return over 5 years, 119% 5-year return compared to the S&P 500. So this is how you start doing backtesting research and trying to find your own investing style and criteria, right, that matters to you, and backtest it. Again, we know that backtesting doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future, but it's a nice ballpark to get you in the right direction to say, maybe this might work, right? Now, how would you take advantage of this? Go to the top, use your top matches. The top 10 will always appear here. And you can see why, right? So you can see the data behind it, right? We can see some of the names I never heard of. Again, this is the beauty, because we selected a small to mid cap screen, and it's outperforming the larger cap S&P 500. This is interesting to me. But here we have a big list. We can export it, by the way, right into an Excel file, right? And then you can take that and put those symbols actually into technical insight and make a watch list, which is a whole other subject I don't have enough time to talk about, but we can combine all these tools into one. But if you bought these 10 stocks today and didn't touch it until 3 months from today, the next quarter, and rebounds, buy the top 10 again and sell what's not there, get rid of the ones that are on the top 10, and buy the new ones in the top 10. That's how you replicate this performance down here. Okay. And again, you can fine tune it as much as you want, right? I can go ahead and do some more testing. Maybe I carry dividend yield's a popular one, and maybe I want a dividend yield that's above, say, 3%. Will I get anything? 17 stocks make it, right? So now I have new stocks that actually pay a dividend, a pretty good yield. Some of these are massive, right? Maybe a little more risky, but some massive ones. And I can quickly do a back test. Okay. And again, we'll see with adding a dividend criteria, makes it better or worsens the strategy, right? And this is how I do it. I do this all day. And maybe spend too much time on it, but this is how I like to play with research. And here you can see it's much worse, right? Probably makes sense. These junior companies are more growth oriented, so they're not really focused on dividend income. So you can see how that affects your screen. And again, as well, you can save it, right? So save your screen. I'll call it test for now, just to show you how it looks like. You can toggle alerts to have it email to you whenever you want, right? Daily, weekly, or monthly. I'll send you an email on a daily basis, right? And when I hit save screen, there we go, it's done. On the star, it will come up here. And you'll have it, you can have as many as you want. All your different strategies will appear here, which is quite unique and interesting. So that's the screener of how to build your own strategy. What I like to do is take that spreadsheet. I won't do it today because of time. I have to go into technical insight, take the spreadsheet, go into watch lists, build a new watch list. I can paste the symbols right in, but all you do is you can put Apple, right? MSFT, I'll put to Meta, just for examples, hit add. And now I have a watch list. Well, I called it watch list. Sorry, I'll just read it. I can edit the name. Say, I'll call it test. Here, Apple, Meta, Google. And as I do this with commas, I can do a search. It's going to come up right away, right? And I'm getting some more details here as well. So I'm getting the last price, the technical insight. Short term, it seems to be bearish. Midterm, long, bullish, intermediate, and long term is no trend for Apple, and the sentiment score. But this, I could go ahead now. I can have as many watches as I want, say from my strategy, and go ahead and click on find events. And see how this is all connected now? So I can go ahead and look for specific technicals on my criteria. I say it's classic patterns, bullish. Nothing comes up. I don't have a big list here, right? So I can keep going in and editing it. But this is the never-ending process if we can go ahead and do research and fine-tune your strategies and set alerts, watch lists, you name it, right? So that's Trading Central Insights, mobile and desktop. I know there was a lot there I went over, a little bit fast, but I'm pretty passionate about these tools and not a lot of time. So we'll have future webinars for sure, so stay tuned, where I can dive into these products individually maybe and give a more deep dive into them with maybe a market context. But I hope I've shown you something new today, and I encourage you all to test out the new Firstrade mobile app. It's fantastic. And I wish I had something like that in Canada. We're probably like 10 years behind the times in Canada when it comes to financial technology, which is sad. But at least I get to use the tools. The team's given me the ability to play around with it. So I love it. Fantastic. And if you have any questions, fire away right now while I am here. So you got about maybe a minute or two left. And I see some, the Firstrade team's been fantastic, monitoring the chat for me already, answering some of your questions. So that's fantastic. Anything else while I'm here? I'll give it a quick moment. And I know I used the whole hour, which is, I didn't think I would, but here we are. Fantastic. If you have any questions later on, reach out to the team. You can find me at tradingcentral.com. Find me on my LinkedIn, Gary Christie, on LinkedIn as well. Reach out if you have questions. And stay tuned for the future webinars. And happy trading, everyone, and happy holidays for sure. It should be interesting times. The market's been quite volatile. I hope we're all, I won't take up too much of your time today. Get back to the markets after yesterday's move. It's been surely interesting, to say the least. And yeah, I see some thanks in there. So thank you all for participating today. I always love seeing people take the time out of their busy day to learn something, learn how to use a tool, learn a little bit about some different types of research out there, and to learn about Trading Central. So I thank you all today for participating, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.